What's good? It's your boy Killer Cam OG back with another video. You know I don't do intros, but Rennis do, so it's time to try something new. And today I'm here with,
Them are the solos y'all already know.
and we will be reacting to hip hop's most embarrassing albums.
Man, I don't even imagine being the thumbnail of this, man. Imagine being on here.
That's what I'm saying.
Dang.
I would hate this.
Is home to a ton of great albums from a bunch of great artists. But on occasion, big artists release albums that are so bad they're embarrassing. Whether it's an album with over 100 songs to boost sales or an album so bad you basically quit making music, there are a lot of examples of this.
Quitting music because your album's so bad is crazy.
Some of
It
hip-hop's
is.
most embarrassing albums, starting off with Chance the Rapper's Big Day. Chance the Rapper was and still is a beloved artist, but after releasing this album, it heavily damaged his career and basically is the reason he isn't really putting out music anymore. And of course, I can't make this video without talking about this album. After releasing his debut mixtape 10 Day in 2012, Chance got a decent amount of attention, especially locally. The next year, he released his classic mixtape Acid Rap, with features from plenty of talented artists, which led to Chance really moving up in the music industry. He began touring, was nominated for Best Mixtape of the Year at BET Awards, he was featured in commercials, and also performed at Lollapalooza. Then in 2014, he was a Double XL freshman, back when that still mattered, and started appearing in tons of other things in the following years. He also met Kanye in 2014, his favorite artist of all time, and they eventually began to work together on Kanye's album The Life of Pablo. When this album released in 2016, Chance was all over it, with writing credits and verses on multiple songs. It was also on this album that Chance said, "I met Kanye West, I'm never gonna fail," which became very iconic and ironic for a few different reasons.
Bro is
he also
excited.
released Coloring Book, which was his third mixtape, and it hit number 8 on the Billboard 200. He was on top of the world and had been working with big brands. He threw a festival in Chicago. He performed at the Grammys and won 3. And he also teased a collab album with Kanye. Chance the Rapper was definitely on his way to becoming a certified A-list celebrity.
It looks like
on
it.
July 26th of 2019, he released his debut studio album, The Big Day. Nearly a decade into his career, Chance the Rapper released his debut studio album, and it was entirely dedicated to his wife, Kirsten Corley. The Big Day was heavily influenced by his marriage in March of that year, and it wasn't received too poorly by critics, but the internet absolutely tore it up. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember this meme.
Oh, I love my wife. I love my wife.
This became such a big meme that he even has a page on
That
Know Your
can't be-
Memes
Am I right?
explaining
Am I
the entire
tweaking?
situation.
That can't be the
Genius even made a
song.
whole video describing every single time Chance mentioned his wife on this album. And I do feel bad for Chance because honestly, I didn't think this album was like that bad.
To be honest,
But then
I haven't
again,
heard it.
I'm fairly impressed by anything with melody or rhythm or any of those things. So maybe I'm not the best judge. Regardless, following the release of this album, his career took a turn for the worse. He started arguing back and forth with fans on Twitter who were critiquing his album. He was arguing back and forth with one guy for a little bit, constantly getting ratioed in the process. Some people even thought he was hacked. He also canceled his tour because of what people speculated was.
Come on now.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Getting ratioed. If you're a celebrity and you getting ratioed, more people on the hater side than you might be done.
That's crazy work.
And the crazy thing is, to be honest, they probably won't even hate it. They truly just don't like the album.
Yeah.
And, you know, he probably was saying this so much that he started getting mad about it and started saying stuff.
Yeah. I could see
Well,
that.
ticket
They said it got
sales,
so bad
although
they thought he
Chance
was
said he
hacked.
had to cancel the tour to spend time with his family, and he
Oh
did just
my
have a second
gosh.
kid at the time, but because there were BOGO sales going on for tickets and the tour had been postponed. However, apparently all of this could have been avoided if he just listened to his manager. Chance had recently fired his manager, Pat Corcoran, and even more recently, Pat filed a lawsuit against him. The lawsuit was mostly about money that Pat was owed. However, he also mentioned The Big Day. Pat said that Chance was ignoring his advice about the album and even blamed him for poor reception and poor ticket sales, which basically confirms the theory that Chance canceled his tour because of ticket sales. But
Come on
somehow,
now.
it gets worse. Chance was seen dancing with some random girls, which had people questioning how he could make a whole album dedicated
Right
to
to
his
his
wife
wife
and
and
then
then
do that.
what?
Then about a year after
Come
that,
on now,
it came
man.
out that the two were getting a divorce.
Oh.
Chance said, "God has blessed us with 2 beautiful girls who we will continue to raise together. We kindly ask for your privacy and respect as we navigate this transition." So honestly, I feel doubly bad that not only did he get clowned for dedicating his debut studio album to his wife, but then they got divorced
And then-
not
yeah.
too long after.
That's actually crazy
Regardless,
work.
I
That
think
is
Chance's
crazy.
situation is unfortunate because he is very talented. Since the Big Day incident in 2019, 2019, he hasn't released an album. However, he has put out some solid singles, and
I like
clearly a
Hov.
lot of people still want music from him, but he really did hurt his career after that album. Sorry for the outfit change. My camera corrupted part of the thing. Whatever.
Maybe he working on a better album to come back or whatever.
I mean, yeah, maybe he pulling a Cardi. Maybe he just been working on it for years, and he gonna release it very soon. We don't know. It's 2025. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper was not expected to make a bad album like that. It's not too surprising that Ice Spice's debut studio album was a bit embarrassing. After a bunch of hit singles in 2022 and 2023, Ice Spice announced her album Y2K in 2024 and announced the album cover as well. And off rip, a lot of people thought the cover was trash. I mean, the album name is literally on the trash can. A fan posted a picture where they changed the album cover up a bit, and Ice Spice responded.
Oh my
saying,
goodness!
"You thought you
Come
made
on
this better
now.
too, Delulu."
That's
Which a lot of
crazy.
people
That was-
thought was pretty rude to a fan who just
Yo,
wanted
that's
to
an
post
easy-
a
that was an
better
easy
version of
target
the picture.
'cause of the trash
Anyway,
thing.
the lead single of this album was called "Think You the Shit Fart." She was trying to play on this popular meme, and this song was not taken seriously at all by fans. It just became a meme song and went viral a little bit on TikTok, especially after releasing like a few good
You're not
songs like
even a
"Boys a
fart.
Liar," for example. It just seemed like
That
Ice
song
Spice
was big
going
at one
backwards.
point,
Regardless,
to
her
be
debut
honest.
album Y2K came out in July of
But
2024
he said that he was
and
nice at me and
wasn't
stuff.
very well received. One fan said on
I
a
remember
Google
when it was
review,
on TikTok.
I actually liked a
Yeah.
couple of Ice Spice's previous songs, so I was hopeful she'd bring something fresh and new to this project.
Her other album was
Unfortunately,
good.
She did not. It's very similar beats with very similar bass notes and very similar lyrics over and over and over again. I feel like she could have the potential to make better music if she stopped trying to drop new projects or deluxe versions of existing projects every few months, and instead just focus on making a really good, high-quality album. I had no idea people use Google reviews, but this was a very accurate take on the situation. Many fans had similar complaints. Fast food type music. You
Yo.
already know what to expect, but if you're in the mood for it, then it's not too bad. This is
Yo.
what happens when
Bro.
folks gas up straight garbage. It stays garbage.
I
And
don't think
get
Ice
me
Spice is
started on
trash,
all of the
to be
poop
honest.
bars she
I
had
didn't hear the
throughout
new
this whole
Y2K
album. It
album,
was just
so.
way too
I
much.
didn't either, but
Like,
I
it was funny
know a
for
lot of her
maybe
songs,
one
and
song,
they're
but
not bad.
maybe
I
even,
like
but
them.
after that it's too much. She said, "I miss Poopy, but I never smell" on BB Belt. Brody took a fake perk, now he got the tummy runs on Plenty Sun, and "I'm the shit, I'm that bitch, I miss Poopy" on Deli. Deli was actually an old song, but you get the point.
I miss
There was
with
also
Deli.
the
Yeah,
hilarious
see?
line on her
That's a
song,
good
"Give Me a
song.
Light," on which she said, "Big Ice, I don't need a writer," to which she followed up, "I miss Poopy like I need a diaper." Nobody can make a poop bar sound good, and Ice Spice definitely cannot.
I miss Poopy like I need a diaper.
I might have to go
I
check
miss
that song out.
Poopy like I
Give
needed
me a
a
light.
diaper.
Yo.
No. Bro, come on, bro. Bitch, you just said, bitch, I'm the shit, bitch, the fart. Come on, bro, that was your very last drop. Holy shit, this bitch sucks.
Dang.
Sorry, bro, that shit got me mad. What the fuck?
I did not see
What the
this.
fuck?
Man,
Bro,
this
she
dude
literally
Max
last
funny.
song.
Bro, I was
like,
about to say,
I'm the-
dang.
bitch, you the shit.
Max
bitch.
going
You're
crazy.
not even the fart. Now you gonna say, I'm a shit, he's the poopy, I need to fart on him. What'd she say?
One person even said on Twitter, "At this point we gotta ask if she got a scat fetish, cause what is with the poop, diaper, and fart bars?" To which Ice Spice responded saying, "I got a shitting on bitches fetish." In defense of Ice Spice, this album did sell 28,000
I mean-
copies first week. Ice Spice seemingly responded to the haters saying, "Like did 15K, so thank you to everyone who supported me then, and thank you to all the new supporters. Y2K World Tour been so fun that these numbers are cool and all, but bitch, you should have seen that Boston crowd last night." And while the numbers may have looked good on paper, I feel like the overall support wasn't. On top of this, Ice Spice was getting into all sorts of beefs and controversies around this time that definitely were not a good look for her, because in a lot of them, she seemed like the bad guy.
YouTube Premium
Dang,
is
bro.
ad-free YouTube and the YouTube Music
Yeah,
app.
I'm
was
trying to
trying to
enjoy the
get the ad,
video,
bro.
bro. I'm enjoying this
She
video.
also released a deluxe and like
I'm locked
another
in.
deluxe for Y2K, but that didn't help. And at the very least, Ice Spice's albums didn't do too bad commercially, because French Montana had to pull some crazy stunts to boost his album sales. I'm not going to go too deep into French Montana's come up because he's been in the game forever. He's released a ton of mixtapes, a handful of albums, and tons of huge singles over the span of his career. He started blowing up a ton though with songs like Pop That, Lockjaw, No Stylist, and of course his biggest song ever,
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
Yeah.
But one thing that
I
was
love that
always
song.
noticeable about French Montana's songs was the features. Most people weren't really tuning in to Unforgettable or No Stylist.
Crazy thing is, when I was talking about Unforgettable, I was just about to say something about Sway Lee. I was like, man, they were going crazy on that one.
Yeah. That Sway Lee and that song, that was tough. I'm not gonna lie.
They wanted to hear Sway Lee and Drake. But
Yeah.
this
I
is something that
forget,
French
bro.
Montana seemed to
Man, it's
realize,
so hard.
at least until his numbers started going down. His place in hip-hop is made most obvious when you think about that picture Diddy posted on Instagram with
Oh
Jay-Z,
my goodness,
Nas,
man.
and Kendrick with French Montana photoshopped out. Diddy didn't even crop him out. He went through the effort of photoshopping French Montana out so he could say, 3 kings, 3 great friends. Love you guys. And I would say, and I have said, this had
He
to have
didn't
been
wanna
heartbreaking
comment.
for French, but nowadays
Come
it's
on now,
probably a
man.
good thing looking back on it. Regardless, in 2019, his third studio album, Montana, sold 25,000 copies first week, which is about half of what his last album sold. Not only that, but he was also caught in a fake stream controversy around
What?
this time
Bro.
as well. I went into more detail
How-
on this
bro,
in a video I did
what?
called The Biggest Scam in the Music Industry, so if you are interested in botted streams, feel free to check it out after this vid. And despite how crazy faking your streams is, things would get even worse for French. In April of 2020, French Montana made one of the biggest mistakes of his career when he said that he has more hits than Kendrick Lamar. More specifically, he said to Complex,
That's funny.
I mean, honestly, you could put
That
somebody
is
like
actually
Kendrick
funny,
Lamar
man.
next to me on the same stage at a festival. I might outshine him. Not because I'm a better rapper or whatever it is. It's just that I got more hits. This sent the internet into a frenzy
Dang,
with everyone
Big
making
Cat.
fun of him. He even had
Dang.
Young Thug clowning on
Oh, he
him.
killed his career in a second.
than Kendrick Lamar. Fool,
And everyone on the internet
Bro.
agreed collectively that statistically speaking and musically speaking,
fool.
and everyone on the
The stats
Okay,
is
here's the
crazy.
stats. I mean, numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie.
Bro.
Kendrick Lamar, yep. I mean, numbers don't
This the
lie.
guy to say he had more
2-8.
hits.
I mean, come on. I mean, bro, everybody didn't take this seriously.
It's not
bro.
even close.
It's kind of crazy how he actually took this seriously, man.
Why would he say this and kill his career?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, man. That's why you gotta watch what you say. You know, when somebody has a big fan base, don't attack them,
Exactly. You
man.
would take somebody with a big fan base and you just lost all your.
Exactly. That's what I'm
you
saying,
lost a lot of
bro.
your fans.
Exactly.
Bro.
So come on, man. Numbers don't lie though.
internet
But
agreed
that was
collectively
crazy.
that statistically
bro
speaking
found out he
and
not the
musically
main
speaking,
character.
Kendrick Lamar is better.
Not only have you never had a #1 hit, Kendrick has had 8 laying in the top 10, while you've only had 2. Still an accomplishment, but it's nowhere near enough for you to be like, oh, I got more hits than Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is kind of what seemed
He
to
let
be
his
the
fan
beginning
get
of
to
the
his
end
head.
for French
Yeah, that's
Montana's
literally
career.
true.
Following this, a hilarious thread started where someone tweeted a Squid Games meme saying, for the next game, you need to name 5 French Montana songs without features.
Oh
French
my
Montana then
gosh.
responded to this
Oh, they
tweet
done
with
popped
like
me.
14 of his own songs,
Oh,
with the
he's-
top reply
took me
being,
out.
all you proved is that French Montana is the only person that can name 5 solo French
Oh
Montana
my
songs. Then
gosh.
French Montana proceeded to
Bro.
have a Twitter meltdown.
Bro-
and
bro
name
responded
5
to you with
solo
the
French
question.
Montana songs. Then French Montana proceeded to have a Twitter meltdown just spamming about how people have amnesia and are forgetting all of the amazing albums that he had given them. But it turns out though that this meltdown and the entire idea that the listeners have amnesia
Bro
was
gave his
actually
own
just
top
promo
5.
for his album They Got Amnesia. But no, that's not the embarrassing album I'm talking about. All of this controversy led to when French Montana released his album Mac and Cheese 5 in 2024. But he didn't just release one version of the album. He released multiple versions of every single song.
Now, what
Damn.
French Montana did was not just release Mac and Cheese 5, but he released it again, and again, and again, and again,
Bro
and
wanted
the
again.
views.
And
Bro-
if these 6
bro
versions
got
of the album
6
were not enough to
versions.
get your attention on streaming services, don't worry, because
Bro can make a whole album with just one song. That's crazy, bro.
This is sad.
French then went on to release every version of the album's 21 songs as singles.
Part of the reason he did this is so that it would show up a bunch on every featured artist's Spotify page. And on top of that, he released a 126 song version of the album called Mac and Cheese 5 Versions. One person tweeted, "This looks like a cry for help. Like, damn, you must really need some streams."
This
Yeah,
is
that's what I was
diabolical,
Sad
bro.
attempt
That
for
is
him to boost
diabolical.
his streams and his album sales, which is crazy because the only way I heard about this album was from this controversy. And after all that, he only sold 34K first week, which was more than his last 2 albums, so it's not that bad if it weren't for another scam that he was alleged in to boost his sales. Right before Mac and Cheese 5 dropped, he released vinyls for pre-order that were only $5, and a lot of people wanted
Dang,
some $5
$5?
vinyl, but that's pretty cheap.
That
So
is-
he did
That's
a
very
decent amount of
cheap
sales.
for
According According to
vinyl-
Billboard,
vinyl.
for these sales to count, they would have to be shipped by the album's release date. A Twitter user by the name of Dro said, French Montana sold vinyl records on his site for $5 pre-orders back in January. With all the albums needing to be shipped on release date to count towards sales, it seems almost everyone that purchased it has had it delivered to a random address. This seems to be a case of fake shipping confirmations in order to boost sales numbers for the album. A lot of people responded to this
it's a
tweet saying that
scam.
the same thing happened to them,
Well, they got-
that their record was supposedly
What?
delivered but to some random ass location. So basically what this means is French's team had a bunch of fake shipping confirmations made just to get the sales in. This album was really one of the most embarrassing album rollouts and marketing
Man.
gimmicks and
Crazy
scams
scam.
that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I've
that's a
talked
really
about it on this
crazy
channel a
scam.
couple times, not gonna lie, but I'm just so blown away that he did this that I had to talk about it again. And coupled with everything else I talked about that he did before this may have been the final nail in the coffin for
That
French
was the
Montana's
final nail
career.
in the
And while of
coffin.
course it is cringy to release an album full of hundreds of songs, Logic may have dropped an even cringier album. When Logic came out back in the
Wow.
day releasing mixtapes,
I'm
he
not
became
gonna lie,
very
bro.
popular among
Honestly, that year he dropped that 1-800 song was the only year I really heard of him, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't really
I forgot
heard,
about this guy.
bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's the only song I really know about from him. It might
Logic.
be one other song or two that he featured on a song that I know that I can't think of right now because I feel like there is, but like
I think it is. I think I know
Over-
what you're talking about.
overall, bro, come on, bro, Logic, bro. No, I
fans of rap.
barely
His
know,
debut
bro.
studio album, Under Pressure, was a huge success, and many hip-hop fans believe that this was the best album Logic had ever released.
lot of people be
even to
hating
this
on it
day.
like
he was
crazy,
known for
crazy.
his lyrics and his own confidence in his lyrical
You see
abilities,
the
but
comments.
Logic also had a few problems.
Comments
One
be
of the
crazy.
things is that a lot of critics, such as Anthony Fantano, thought Logic wore his inspirations on his sleeve a bit too much, basically saying he didn't bring anything new to the table. I mean, there's even a video online titled "Logic Stealing from Kendrick Lamar for 5 minutes Straight."
Bro,
and
what?
it's
It's crazy.
kinda
Right, like,
untrue,
what?
But this wasn't a big enough issue to really damage Logic's career. He continued releasing music, dropping projects like The Incredible True Story and Bobby Tarantino. And
I
then
don't-
he
I don't think
released
I
his
ever seen his
biggest
albums in
album
my
ever,
life.
Everybody. This album and the track 1-800 in particular were insanely successful, with the project debuting at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. 1-800 also went 8 times platinum, which is just insane. But this is where the other problem comes into play, and it's that a lot of hip-hop fans found Logic
At least he
corny.
got his
1-800
paycheck.
in particular was a
Let's say
song about
corny.
suicide prevention, which isn't bad at all, but many thought that the execution of the song was corny. And a lot of the other tracks on the album were about how Logic is, if you didn't know, biracial. And they clowned him so much for it on this album that it fueled his want to talk about it even more. There's even compilations of Logic talking about his biracialness all over YouTube.
God is a slave and a master. It's like the devil playing spades with the pastor.
Bro.
Cole's
Oh
biracial,
my
Drake's
gosh.
biracial. Obama's biracial. Is
My
what?
father's black. Yeah.
And Obama's white.
Yep. But he was
What?
born with the white privilege. Man, what the fuck is that? White people told me as a child, as a little boy playing with his toys, I should be ashamed to be black. And some black people look ashamed when I rap. Like my great granddaddy didn't take a whip to the back.
Okay. Now,
People look
From
black
first
people look
impression,
ashamed when
you
you
look white.
rap.
After everybody, Logic sort of kept digging himself a deeper hole when it came to dropping songs or doing things that fans viewed as corny. This culminated on Royce da 5'9's Caterpillar remix, where Logic kind of just lost it when it came to this topic. Yeah, so I can't play the clip because of copyright, but if you guys want to just read the lyrics, it's pretty rough, man. I can't lie here. Clearly, Logic was very lyrics.
It's crazy how everyone's
So obsessed with my race because I'm proud to be black, but matter of fact, it was flipped around, and every time somebody asked me what it was like to be a white rapper, what it's like to be a white rapper, Logic, oh, and I was just like, just never talked about it, like, man, it's just so great being a white rapper, white, everything, white man, being white so great, why it's so great. And then some brother was like, hey, ain't your daddy black?
Oh my
And I was
god!
like-
do you even gotta finish, bro? Do you even gotta finish at this point, man? Genuinely, bro. Do you even gotta finish? Like, come on now, man. What are these lyrics, bro?
I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even think he rhyming.
I don't, bro. What are
he
these
must have been
lyrics,
saying
bro?
it in a way
Come
where
on
it
now,
wrong,
man.
because there's no way, like,
What is Brody? What is Brody
pretty
yapping
rough,
about?
man. I can't lie here.
I see why this
Logic
happened
was
to do
very
that.
insecure about all of the corny accusations and people making fun of him for talking about him being biracial. And I believe that this
But he is
insecurity
corny.
is what resulted in the album Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind was released in May of 2019, and hip-hop fans really did not like this album. It
Dang.
came out a couple months after Supermarket, which was a soundtrack Logic
What
made
the-
to a novel he wrote, and that album
Bro, that is the craziest thing I ever read, bro. I'm not even gonna read that.
Wow, I'm gonna let y'all do that.
Yeah, this is the craziest thing I ever seen, man. Come on now. Bro, who told him this was a great idea?
A couple months after
Bro, Joe
Supermarket,
from You.
which was a
Wait,
soundtrack
what?
Logic made to a novel he wrote, and that album was also bad, but I'm not really counting it for this video because it was a soundtrack and it wasn't really a rap album. Regardless, Confessions of the Dangerous Mind did fairly well commercially, selling 80,000 first week and going #1. That's because, in my opinion, Logic does have a very strong core fan base. However, a lot of fans, including many of his diehard fans, were not into this album. I personally was pretty into Logic at this time. I liked Incredible True Story, Under Pressure, stuff like that. And the first single he put out for this album was good, and then the entire rest of the album just kind of derailed and was not, it was pretty bad.
Oh, you know I keep a glove. Boss up like Lando. The moment y'all been waiting for.
No one's been waiting for this moment.
Yo.
Brother, he will Smith.
And there are a few promising instrumentals on the record, but nothing that outshines the severe averageness of Logic's verses and his hooks. Logic's worst rap album, again, by a very large margin, in my opinion. I'm feeling a strong 1 to a light 2 on this thing.
He said things on this album
Hard in
like,
my ego.
I ain't bipolar, Kanye make me wish I was, which a lot of people weren't happy about. And on the hook of the song Bobby, he said, who sell out arenas, who spit at the meanest, who's biracial, only in his penis. A lot of
Bro,
fans were
what?
pretty disappointed by this project. One fan said,
I would
Logic
be
in
too.
2014, I'm not defined by the sales of my first week, because in my mind, the only way I fail is if my verse weak. Logic in 2019, I don't give a damn about lyrics. Another fan said, I think his passion has just kind of ran out. You can sort of tell he already said all he has to say in his previous albums. This album is also the 11th worst rated on Rate Your Music. If you don't know, Rate Your Music is kind of where all the little internet Anthony Fantanos go to rate albums, so their opinion isn't law, but it does go to show that a lot of people didn't like this project. Also, this same year, Logic
I'm gonna have
said
to
on the
rate my
French
album.
Montana song, 1-800
You are. You're
Gonna
going
Kill
to
You,
do a
Who
tier
Can
list.
Relate.
Your
Fans were
albums.
not happy that Logic made a lighthearted joke about his very serious song about suicide. So this year and album in particular were a terrible look for Logic, and it actually resulted in him retiring from the music industry.
That's
And
crazy.
clearly all of this negativity wasn't good for his mental health. I mean, I probably wouldn't feel too good if Joe Budden did me like this either.
Logic, I beg of you, join me in retirement. Never step near a recording device again. Be allergic to microphones. Promise your fans nothing. Don't go to the studio ever again. You are the worst, yo.
Bro, what if you was a rapper and somebody on a podcast said that about you?
Bro, oh my.
Bro, being allergic from the mic is actually
That
crazy,
is crazy,
man.
like,
bro
man.
said, bro made sure he would never touch a mic
I
ever
try to stay out the
again.
drum and beat, but I would not stay out of that one.
Man,
You can't
At
even
least
ignore somebody
Logic's
talking that
album did
crazy.
well commercially,
can't.
because Smoke Perps did so bad commercially that the entire internet bullied him for it. Smoke Perp is a rapper who
Oh, I
really
know
blew
Smoke
up in the
Perp.
shadow of Lil
Yeah, I
Pump.
know him
Although he
too.
did have some
Yeah.
hits on SoundCloud, like his song Audi. Just like Lil Pump does,
I used to
Smoke
get him
Perp
mixed
was
up
one
with
of the
Lil
many
Pump.
buzzing Florida rappers and even worked with artists like X. And after his hit song Audi, he followed up with his mixtape Dead Star that debuted at 42 on the Billboard 200 with features from artists like Travis Scott and Chief Keef. He even became a XXL freshman in 2018 and was featured in one of the worst ciphers of all time. But after that, Smoke Perp really struggled to continue making waves. Other than his
He made a
feature
song
on
with
Costa
KSI.
Rica, which to be honest was outshined by many
I'm
other
not
guest
surprised.
verses, he didn't really have many hits. Don't get me wrong, he
What's that
definitely
supposed
had
to
some
mean?
big songs throughout his career,
I'm just saying,
but
I'm
his
not
career
surprised
just
if
wasn't
you know,
showing
you know.
much longevity. And just like French Montana, many of his songs were carried by the features. One thing that hinted towards Smoke Perp's downward spiral was his freestyle on Tim Westwood.
bro,
in
this
20.
is the worst freestyle I ever seen in my whole entire life. I think this is the same guy, Smoke Perp. He did the freestyle. He did the X's Moonlight, and he tried to freestyle to that. That was the worst thing I ever heard in my
Bro.
entire life, bro.
in which, if you haven't heard, was terrible.
I'm a motherfucking stoner. I'm a motherfucking boner. I got a motherfucking boner. Yeah, my effing for the bus, I got a boner.
He claims that he was just having fun, but that didn't stop the entire internet from making fun of him
Remember that
for
was
years
Lil
to
Pump
come.
that did that.
This video
I
has
don't
a
know who
whopping
did. It was either one.
70,000 dislikes, and they even had to turn off the comments. And even to this day, 6 years later, people are still making fun of him for this. About a month after that, Smoke Perp posted on his Instagram story. First they said I'm falling off. Then their new excuse was we want old Perp. Made the whole Florida jit like old mosh pit Perp. And now those same people are acting like they knew I was about to turn back up like this. I'm streaming crazy and my music going up more than ever. Basically, he was denying that he fell off, said he was doing better than ever before, and then trying to promote his next album.
You think we don't
Legit.
should've
But
known
people
that?
saw right through this, and one of the top comments is, "Bro can't accept the fact that he fell off so hard, so he keeps lying to himself." And this really goes to show, because shortly after this, Smoke Perp released his album Florida Jit. This album came out and sold only 4,700
God
copies.
dang, that's
and less
low.
than 130 digital albums were sold as well. 4,700 copies, if you don't know, is very low, especially from an established artist who has hit Billboard before and had
That's what I'm
features from big
saying.
names like Denzel Curry, Rick Ross, Jack Harlow, Lil Pump, and Young Nudy.
Dang, they
He
couldn't
got
even save
clowned
him.
into oblivion on the internet with people saying things like the album went triple plastic or double cardboard.
Triple
He got clowned
plastic
so
is
much
something
that he
else,
was played
man.
into the joke and said, "Another free project on the way." This album was extremely embarrassing and Twitter was all over him.
Oh my.
And coupled with the freestyle, things weren't really looking good for Perp. He really wouldn't be talked about much until 2022, and it wasn't for a good reason. A video was posted online of Smoke Perp performing a show to a crowd that looked like it was about 20 people. Like the
Bro.
internet does, everyone began making fun of him online.
Come on
Someone
now,
in his Instagram
man.
comments asked him, "Is it true that you only had a few people at some show? I saw a video about it, I think." To which Perp replied, "Yeah, there was a show that was pretty empty that I didn't have to do, but I'm gonna give my fans a show regardless always. I wouldn't be here without them."
Good
I think a lot of
stuff.
fans really liked
I mean,
this
that's cool.
response, even though it
That was a
a show
W
on
response,
tour,
to
so
be
he definitely
honest.
had to do it. Regardless, shortly after, Hello You Seen reported that Smoke Perp didn't show up to a show in Cleveland, and that the
Bro.
20 people waiting for him were
Bro said 20 people.
Bro, how this dude just say he performed anyway because he always want to give his fans a show because they deserve it, and then he had no show.
Yeah.
And then only 20 people was waiting anyways.
Only 20 people, bro. Oh my god. Oh, it's a meet and greet. Hi and bye. Wow.
kicked out of the venue after requesting refunds. So
What
after
the-
the flopping of Florida Jit, it was clearly
probably
pretty
$5.
downhill for Perp. There
It's
have been
probably
plenty of
free.
other embarrassing albums in rap, so let me know if you guys want a part 2, and let me know what you guys
Probably
think
was
the most
5.
embarrassing album in rap is as well, or other genres. Let me know about that too below. If you like this video, you might like my video about artists who stole their biggest songs, in which I cover some pretty interesting information that
dressed
you
like
might not
them.
have known about some of your possible favorite tracks. Anyway,
Let me know if you want to watch artists who stole their biggest songs next. You know what I'm saying? That could be a good little one. You know what I'm saying?
It's artists who stole their biggest. Bro, come on now, man. There's no way that some artists decide to steal something to make to make their stuff, man. There's no way.
What's your thoughts
The
on this
heck?
hip hop's most embarrassing albums video? What's your thoughts on it, bro?
I mean, to be honest, this was very accurate. I do feel like everything I seen on this video was very embarrassing, very humiliating. It made me wonder why they even do stuff like that. How did they get those ideas to some of them rappers? Like some talking about making an album for like one song. Like he can make like that was crazy, bro.
French Montana.
Yes,
Who do you
that's-
think had it the worst in this video? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say it's either Smoke Perp, maybe Logic. Cause Logic, I actually have seen the stuff they do to him. And this video did accurately explain it also as well, bro.
Yeah, Logic.
His
The
lyrics,
whole
bro.
podcast. It might be. Yeah, this is either gonna be Logic or Smoke
And then he
Perp.
started making them stalker songs and stuff like that.
I think
talking
Smoke
about-
Perp had a huge fall off.
He did. But I'm not gonna lie. 4,700 units sold is crazy work, bro.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Like that.
Bro.
That fall off needs to be studied.
He
man.
didn't even make the Billboard 1 million.
He didn't.
Like, bro, that's bad, bro. He gotta lock in, bro.
He does, but he probably retired now, man.
Oh yeah, he probably did.
I feel like everybody on this list is almost retired. You know.
Congrats if he retired, man.
Bro, say
man.
congrats. That's crazy
Man,
word.
Congrats if he retired, man. But I'm here with
Limitless Solos, y'all boys already know.
Killer Cam the OG. Out.